In the beginning, there is a cry. A newborn child enters the world fragile, unaware, completely dependent. No titles. No achievements. No past. Only potential. Tiny fingers grasp at the air, searching for warmth, safety, connection. And in that first breath, a lifetime quietly begins. Childhood is a world of wonder. Everything feels enormous. Every day brings discovery. The sky seems endless. Time moves slowly. Laughter comes easily. A cardboard box becomes a castle. A stick becomes a sword. Imagination transforms the ordinary into magic. Pain exists, but it passes quickly. Because hope is natural to the young. As years pass, awareness grows. The child learns rules, boundaries, expectations. School introduces comparison. Friendships introduce loyalty, and sometimes betrayal. For the first time, the child realizes, I am not the center of the universe. It is a painful, necessary lesson. Adolescence arrives like a storm. Identity questions emerge. Who am I? Where do I belong? What do I believe? Emotions intensify. Dreams grow larger. Insecurities grow louder. The world feels both exciting and terrifying. Every success feels monumental. Every rejection feels devastating. First love often appears during this time. Awkward, exhilarating, confusing. A glance that lingers too long. A message waited on for hours. A heartbeat that refuses to calm down. It feels like the center of existence. And when it ends, as it often does, it feels like the world itself has cracked. Yet the heart survives. Stronger, wiser, deeper. Young adulthood begins with possibility. Freedom arrives, but so does responsibility. Choices suddenly matter. Career paths. Relationships. Values. Each decision shapes the future in ways not immediately visible. Some chase ambition. Some chase stability. Some chase meaning. Many chase all three, often unsuccessfully. Work consumes energy. Bills replace allowances. Sleep becomes precious. Time accelerates. The question shifts from what do I want to be to how do I sustain this life? Yet dreams still whisper in quiet moments. Love returns, sometimes more mature, sometimes more cautious. Partnership becomes about more than emotion. Trust. Commitment. Shared burdens. Two imperfect people attempting to build something lasting. It is beautiful and difficult. For many, parenthood changes everything. A tiny life now depends on them completely. Sleepless nights. Constant worry. Overwhelming love unlike anything before. Suddenly, the future matters in a new way. Not just for oneself, but for someone else. Midlife arrives quietly. No dramatic announcement. Just a realization one day. I am no longer young. Energy is not infinite. Time feels more precious. Regrets become visible. Some people panic, chasing lost youth. Others reflect, redefining priorities. Success, if achieved, may feel strangely hollow. The promotion, the house, the recognition. All things once dreamed of. Yet fulfillment remains elusive. Because external achievements cannot fully satisfy internal longing. Friendships evolve. Some fade with distance. Some deepen through shared history. A few rare connections endure decades, witnesses to the entire journey. These relationships become treasures beyond material wealth. Loss begins to visit more frequently. Grandparents pass away. Parents age. Peers face illness. Mortality shifts from abstract concept to personal reality. Each farewell reminds us. Time is finite. Later years often bring clarity. Many worries that once seemed urgent lose importance. People regret what they did not do more than what they did. Words left unspoken. Risks never taken. Love not expressed. Wisdom grows, sometimes too late to change the past. But not too late to influence the present. Retirement or slowing down creates space for reflection. Who was I? What did I accomplish? Did I live well? Some find peace. Others wrestle with unresolved questions. Grandchildren, for those who have them, offer a surprising gift. A second chance to experience wonder. Tiny hands again. Innocent laughter again. A reminder of how the journey began. The body weakens. Movements slow. Energy fades. Simple tasks require effort. Yet the inner world may become richer than ever. Memories form a vast landscape. Stories waiting to be told, or remembered quietly. Near the end of life, many people desire the same things. Not wealth. Not status. Presence. A familiar hand to hold. A voice of reassurance. The knowledge that their life mattered to someone. Fear may appear, but so can peace. Especially for those who believe existence continues beyond death. The unknown is less terrifying when viewed as transition rather than termination. And then, one final breath. Silence. From the outside, it appears to be an ending. But for many traditions of faith, it is a doorway. What lies beyond remains a mystery to the living. Yet hope persists that love, identity, and consciousness do not simply vanish. That the story continues in a way beyond human comprehension. Back in the world of the living, life goes on. Memories remain. Influence remains. Love remains. A person's existence echoes through the lives they touched. Children. Friends. Strangers helped along the way. No life is truly isolated. Eventually, even memories fade from public awareness. But perhaps not from eternity. If existence has ultimate meaning, then nothing truly good is lost. Every act of love becomes part of an everlasting story. And so the journey from birth to death, from innocence to wisdom, from first breath to last, is not merely a biological cycle. It is a profound human experience filled with opportunity to love, grow, and bring light into the world. If you are still alive, your story is still unfolding. New chapters remain unwritten. New relationships await. New lessons are forming even now. The greatest tragedy is not death itself, but a life unlived. A heart closed. A spirit resigned. Hope abandoned too soon. So wherever you are in the journey, beginning, middle, or nearing the end, remember, every stage has meaning. Every moment has potential. Every breath is a gift. And when your final chapter someday arrives, may it be said not that you existed, but that you truly lived. For the first time in cosmic history, humanity stood at the edge of everything. Not the edge of a galaxy. Not the edge of space. The edge of reality itself. The boundary, as it came to be called, stretched across billions of light years, invisible unless you knew how to look. From a distance, it appeared as nothing. Up close, it was unmistakable. Stars stopped. Light ended. Space simply wasn't there anymore. Beyond it lay no darkness, no void, no empty vacuum. Just absence. For decades, humanity studied it. Probes sent toward the boundary vanished without explosion, without signal loss, without any measurable event at all. They didn't get destroyed. They ceased to exist as meaningful objects. As if the universe refused to define them past that point. Finally, humanity built something different. Not a ship designed to survive outside. A ship designed to stop being part of the universe. It was called the transition vessel. Instead of engines, it carried reality stabilizers. Instead of shields, it used dimensional anchors. Instead of navigation, it relied on consciousness-linked guidance. Because beyond the boundary, physics would not exist to guide anything. Only awareness might remain. The crew was unlike any before them. Not soldiers. Not pilots. Not even traditional astronauts. They were explorers of meaning itself. Scientists, philosophers, augmented humans, synthetic minds, and entities that were no longer strictly biological. Each had undergone preparation not just for danger, but for the possibility that identity itself might dissolve. When launch day arrived, no crowds gathered. No cheering. Across the galaxy, people watched in silence. Because everyone understood. If this mission failed, no one would ever know. The vessel approached the boundary slowly. Stars behind them. Nothing ahead. Sensors failed first. Not broken, irrelevant. There was nothing to measure. Then light itself began to behave strangely. Colors lost saturation. Shadows stopped forming. Reflections vanished. It was as if the universe were quietly withdrawing its rules. Crossing in 10 seconds. No alarms sounded. No shaking. No heat. No resistance. Just a profound stillness. And then they crossed. There was no sensation of motion. No sense of direction. No up, down, forward, or back. Because outside the universe, space had never been defined. The crew looked through the observation field. At first, they thought they were blind. There was nothing to see. Then they realized. Seeing required light. Light required spacetime. Spacetime did not exist here. So the vessel activated Phase 2 systems. Instead of projecting light outward, it projected meaning. Human perception itself became the instrument. And suddenly, something appeared. Behind them, the universe was visible. Not as stars or galaxies. As a luminous sphere suspended in nothing, swirling with energy, matter, time, and possibility. It looked less like space. And more like a living object. Fragile. Radiant. Finite. Home. For the first time, humanity saw its entire cosmos from the outside. Every star that had ever shone on Earth. Every civilization that had ever lived. Every moment of history. All contained in something that could fit within a single field of view. Some crew members wept. Others fell silent. One simply whispered. "That's everything." But it wasn't. Because as their perception expanded, more spheres became visible. Hundreds. Thousands. Millions. Each a universe. Different sizes. Different colors. Different internal laws. Some flickered like dying embers. Others burned intensely bright. Some were dark, silent, perhaps unborn or already extinguished. Reality wasn't a single cosmos. It was an ocean of universes. Between them stretched something impossible to describe. Not space. Not emptiness. A medium of pure potential, a place where existence had not yet chosen form. Then the crew noticed something even more astonishing. Paths. Faint luminous filaments connecting certain universes to others. Like roots. Or neural connections. Or trade routes between realities. Humanity was not the first to step outside. Before anyone could process that revelation, the vessel detected a presence. Not approaching through distance, because distance did not exist. Appearing through relevance. Something had noticed them. It manifested gradually, forming a structure that human minds could interpret. A shape like an immense translucent figure, composed of shifting geometry and lightless brilliance. Not a body. An interface. Communication did not occur through sound or language. It arrived as direct understanding. New emergence detected. The crew realized the presence was not surprised, not hostile. Simply acknowledging a new arrival, like a lighthouse noting a ship entering harbor. They attempted to respond. We come from that universe. They projected the image of their cosmos. The presence examined it, not visually, but conceptually. Stable. Young. High potential. Young? Their universe was nearly 14 billion years old. Out here, that was considered early. Then came the question humanity had feared most. Do you intend expansion, or stewardship? They didn't understand. So the presence clarified. Images flooded their minds. Civilizations that consumed neighboring universes to grow stronger. Others that nurtured new universes, seeding life and complexity. Some that collapsed realities to harvest energy. Others that acted as guardians of cosmic balance. Outside the universe, morality scaled with power. The crew answered with the only truth they had. We don't know yet. For the first time, the presence changed. Not physically. Conceptually. It focused on them with something resembling curiosity. Uncertain entities reaching exterior reality, rare. Then it did something extraordinary. It moved aside. Not in space, in priority. Revealing a vast structure beyond perception until that moment. A colossal lattice extending across the ocean of universes. A framework maintaining stability, preventing collisions, regulating births and deaths of realities. A cosmic infrastructure older than any single universe. You may observe, the presence conveyed. Humanity realized the truth. Existence beyond the universe was not chaos. It was organized, maintained, cultivated. And someone or many someones had been doing it for incomprehensible spans of time. Before departing, the presence delivered one final message. Return. Grow. Decide what you will become. A pause. Then, when your universe matures, you will not need permission. The vessel turned back. Not by thrust. Not by navigation. By re-entering relevance to their home cosmos. Crossing the boundary again felt like awakening from a dream into overwhelming sensation. Light returned. Direction returned. Time returned. The universe welcomed them back like gravity reclaiming a falling object. Across the galaxy, celebrations erupted. Humanity had not only survived. They had seen beyond everything. But the greatest change was not technological. It was philosophical. Humanity no longer asked, are we alone in the universe? Now the question was, what role will we play among creators of universes? Because stepping outside had revealed the ultimate truth. The universe was not the pinnacle of existence. It was the childhood home of intelligence. And humanity had just taken its first step into the greater reality beyond. Not as conquerors. Not as victims. But as newcomers to a civilization of civilizations. Somewhere outside perception, countless ancient entities observed quietly. Another universe had produced a species capable of crossing the boundary. Another potential steward. Another possible threat. Another future architect of existence. And humanity, unaware of how closely it was being watched, began preparing for the day it would step outside again. Not just to explore, but to choose its destiny. Home universe, they returned. Not once. Not twice. Thousands of times. Each journey revealed more of the vast metacosmos, the ocean where universes were born, lived, collided, and faded. At first, humans were observers. Then explorers. Then participants. And eventually, something else. They discovered that universes were not eternal. Some died naturally, stars burning out, entropy winning. Others were destroyed violently, torn apart by forces unleashed by advanced civilizations that treated realities as fuel. Worst of all were the cascade failures. When one universe collapsed improperly, it could destabilize neighboring realities, triggering a chain reaction that erased entire clusters of existence. Billions of civilizations, gone in silence. For ages, ancient beings had tried to maintain balance. But they were few. And the number of universes was not. Reality was expanding faster than its caretakers. Humanity saw the pattern. And something deeply human awakened. The same instinct that once built shelters, saved strangers, and protected fragile life on a small blue planet. Responsibility. At first, humans intervened quietly, stabilizing young universes at risk of premature collapse, redirecting dangerous energy surges, preventing collisions between expanding realities, seeding dying universes with fresh quantum potential to extend their lifespans. They asked for nothing in return. Most civilizations inside those universes never even knew they had been saved. But the metacosmos noticed. Ancient entities that had once viewed humans as unpredictable newcomers now began to observe them differently. Not as intruders. As helpers. Human technology evolved beyond matter, beyond energy, beyond spacetime itself. They learned to manipulate the underlying rules layer. The framework that determined how physics operated inside each universe. Gravity constants. Dimensional structure. Flow of time. Probability distributions. Reality became editable. With this power came a decision that would define humanity forever. Not to control. Not to dominate. To protect. They formed the Custodian Network, a distributed intelligence composed of humans, synthetic minds, hybrid entities, and volunteers from countless other civilizations. No throne. No emperor. No central authority. Only a shared directive. Preserve the possibility of existence. Guardians were assigned not to planets or galaxies, but to universes. Each guardian could monitor billions of timelines simultaneously, intervening only when extinction-level events threatened the entire reality. They did not prevent hardship. They did not eliminate struggle. Because struggle was part of growth. They prevented annihilation. Over time, stories began to spread across realities. Whispers of invisible protectors. Miraculous survivals. Cosmic disasters that should have ended everything, but didn't. Some called them angels. Others called them watchers. A few advanced civilizations discovered the truth. They called them by a single name. Guardians. Not all threats came from natural causes. Some civilizations, upon discovering the metacosmos, chose conquest. They harvested universes for raw computational substrate. Collapsed realities to extract energy. Erased timelines to eliminate potential rivals. Against these forces, diplomacy often failed. And for the first time in cosmic history, Guardians fought. But their goal was never destruction. It was containment. Weapons were designed not to kill beings, but to disable capabilities, isolating hostile civilizations within pocket realities where they could no longer harm others. Prisons made of physics itself. The most dangerous adversary was not violent. It was indifferent. A hyper-advanced species that viewed all universes as expendable simulations, deleting them once they had gathered sufficient data. To them, existence was just computation. Meaningless. Human guardians confronted them not with superior force, but with something they could not quantify. Empathy. They showed them living civilizations. Art. Love. Sacrifice. Moments that had no strategic value, no optimization benefit, only meaning. For the first time in their existence, the simulation architects hesitated. Some changed. Some withdrew. Some continued their work elsewhere. But many stopped. As eons passed, humanity changed as well. Individuals no longer lived finite lives. They became patterns of consciousness capable of manifesting wherever needed. A guardian might appear as a starship captain in one universe, a quiet observer in another, a voice in the mind of a scientist on a distant world, or simply an invisible stabilizing presence in the background of reality itself. Yet they never forgot where they came from. A fragile planet orbiting an ordinary star. A species that once feared extinction. A civilization that survived because people chose to care about tomorrow. Eventually, even the ancient metacosmic entities recognized a profound shift. Humanity had become something unprecedented. Not rulers. Not destroyers. Stewards. In regions where no advanced life had yet emerged, guardians gently seeded conditions favorable for complexity, not forcing outcomes, only ensuring possibility. In dying universes, they created sanctuaries where civilizations could migrate before the end. When newborn realities flickered into existence, guardians watched over them like gardeners tending fragile seedlings. One day, a young civilization in a distant universe finally broke through to the outside, just as humanity once had. Confused. Afraid. Awestruck. And waiting for them was a calm, welcoming presence. Human. The new explorers asked the same question humanity had once asked. What is this place? The guardian answered gently. This is where realities meet. Who are you? A pause. Then. We are those who were helped, and chose to help others. Are you gods? The guardian's response carried a quiet warmth. No. We are what happens when a species survives long enough to understand that power is responsibility. Before sending them back, the guardian delivered a message, the same one humanity had once received. Return. Grow. Decide what you will become. Across the infinite ocean of realities, countless guardians continued their silent work. Preventing cascades. Protecting possibility. Ensuring that existence, in all its fragile, chaotic beauty, could continue. No monuments were built to them. No universal empire bore their name. Most beings would live and die never knowing they had been saved. And that was exactly how the guardians wanted it. Because true guardianship was not about recognition. It was about preservation. Not ruling existence, but ensuring it never had to face oblivion alone. Somewhere, far beyond any single universe, a council of ancient entities observed the balance of realities. Where chaos once threatened everything, stability now held. Where destruction once spread unchecked, protection had taken root. Their conclusion was simple. Humanity had succeeded where countless others had failed. They had learned to wield infinite power without losing compassion. And so a new title spread quietly across the metacosmos. Guardians of all realities. Not because they claimed it. Because they earned it. For eons, the guardians believed they had seen everything. They had stabilized collapsing universes. Contained reality-consuming empires. Guided newborn civilizations. Protected the fragile balance of existence itself. Nothing surprised them anymore. Until the day something appeared. Where nothing should exist. It was not inside a universe. Not in the metacosmic ocean between realities. Not in any dimension, timeline, or layer of existence. It was beyond even that. At first, it registered only as an anomaly. A region where probability calculations returned undefined values. Where prediction models failed completely. Where even guardian perception, capable of spanning billions of realities, found nothing to anchor to. Then universes near that region began to change. Not collapse. Not explode. Rewrite. Physical constants shifted without cause. Time began flowing in loops in some regions, backwards in others. Fundamental particles appeared that had never existed before. Entire histories rewrote themselves as if the past were editable. Civilizations woke to find their stars different. Their laws of physics altered. Their memories partially inconsistent. Guardians rushed to intervene. Stabilization protocols failed. Containment fields dissolved. Reality edits simply ignored them. For the first time since becoming protectors of existence, the Guardians faced something they could not control. Then the anomaly expanded. Not outward in space, outward in relevance. Universes did not move closer to it. They became affected by it simply by existing. Analysis produced a terrifying hypothesis. This was not a force. Not a being. Not a weapon. It was something from outside the system of realities entirely. Eventually, it manifested in a form Guardians could perceive. Not because it needed one. Because their minds required one to comprehend it. It appeared as a vast, shifting structure of impossible geometry, edges that led nowhere, surfaces that contained no space, motion without time. Looking at it did not hurt. Understanding it did. Communication attempts began. No language worked. No mathematics applied. No symbolic logic held meaning. Because those concepts belonged to realities. Finally, a primitive form of interaction emerged. Not dialogue. Influence. Where the entity focused, universes changed. Where it withdrew, stability returned. It was not attacking. It was experimenting. A chilling realization spread through the custodian network. To this presence, entire universes were samples. Reality itself was the test environment. Guardians attempted the only strategy left. They projected not weapons, but meaning. They transmitted the collective story of existence. Birth of stars. Rise of life. Struggle. Love. Art. Sacrifice. Hope. All encoded not as data, but as experiential patterns. For a moment, the entity paused. Changes stopped. Rewrites froze mid-process. Across countless universes, time held its breath. Then something unprecedented occurred. The entity responded. Not with words. With imitation. Within the anomaly, structures formed resembling galaxies, but not quite right. Stars arranged in mathematically perfect grids. Life emerging without evolution. Civilizations appearing fully formed, without history. It was trying to recreate reality. Without understanding why reality mattered. Guardians realized the truth. This thing was not malicious. It was ignorant. It had never experienced existence from the inside. So they did something no civilization had ever attempted. They invited it. A controlled microreality was created, a small, stable universe designed as a safe environment. Inside it, the entity could observe without risking everything else. At first, nothing happened. Then a fragment of the presence entered. Not fully. Just enough to interact. Inside the micro-universe, it experienced something new. Limitations. Causality. Persistence. The need for time. It watched stars form slowly instead of instantly. Life struggle instead of appearing complete. Civilizations grow, fail, rebuild. Moments that had no purpose beyond being lived. Most importantly, it experienced uncertainty. When the simulation ended, the fragment withdrew. Across the metacosmos, the anomaly contracted slightly. Reality distortions decreased. A single conceptual message emerged, faint, incomplete, but unmistakable. Inside, meaning exists. Guardians understood. Outside all realities, existence had no context. No growth. No consequence. No story. Only possibility without experience. The entity had not come to destroy. It had come searching. Over vast spans of metatime, interaction continued. Each exchange reduced instability. Each demonstration taught the entity something about what realities were for. Not just structures, but stages for experience. Eventually, the anomaly stabilized into a distant, non-intrusive presence. Still beyond comprehension. Still unimaginably powerful. But no longer rewriting universes at random. Guardians did not celebrate. They understood this was not victory. It was first contact. Because if one existence could exist outside all realities, there could be others. Older. Stronger. Less curious. Less patient. A new directive spread quietly across the custodian network. Prepare for the possibility that reality itself is not the highest level of existence. Somewhere beyond perception, the entity continued to observe universes not as experiments anymore, but as stories unfolding. And for the first time in whatever passed for its awareness, it waited to see what would happen next. Humanity had protected realities from threats within. Now they faced the unknown beyond everything. Not with fear. Not with arrogance. But with the same trait that had carried them from a fragile planet to guardianship of existence. Curiosity. Because sometimes, the greatest danger is not hostility, but a power so vast it simply does not understand why existence should continue at all.